Okay, guys, the story we're talking about tonight is completely unbelievable. It's one of the saddest stories I've ever read and one of the most horrific things I've ever seen, and it was done to a Christian pastor. This is just further proof that persecution continues to happen even in the US, and I just want to put it out there to pray for this man's family. This is just beyond disturbing. It's sad. It's wrong. Viewer discretion is extremely advised on this story because not only is it very demonic, but it's just twisted. It's so wrong. And this guy had planned to kill about 15 other pastors, I believe. And he crucified this pastor in his home. He went into the pastor's home, crucified him, nailed him to the wall, and put a crown of thorns on his head. Again, absolutely twisted, disgusting, demonic. Made my stomach turn hearing about this. And there's an interview from him. But it goes to show how far people have gone, how badly we need freedom in Christ, because so many people are walking down demonized like this, and how there's persecution happening in the U.S. This man was killed for his faith. This pastor is getting the white robe the Bible talks about as a martyr, was martyred for his faith in the U.S., and so we need to pray for this pastor, and we need to be vigilant as preachers, as pastors, as leaders, because there are deranged, demonic people out there that are willing to do this stuff. So here's the story. Suspect confesses to killing Arizona pastor and admits he had more targets. New River pastor Bill Schonemann was found dead inside his home north of Phoenix on April 28th. Just heartbreaking. Since then, authorities have identified his killer as Adam Sheafe, 51, and then he's taking a bunch of interviews, which we're going to watch some of those interviews. This is him. He has some Hebrew on his neck. Before we get into the details of what was shared, it's important to talk about the life taken. Pastor Bill was a beloved pastor at New River Bible Chapel. He was known to help those who needed it most, and this is just, again, stomach turning, guys, how sad this is. Talked about how he waved at others. He was super friendly. And this guy, we're going to watch the video, says basically he has no regrets for what he did. So just heartbreaking that this could happen in the U.S. He talks about he was going to execute another priest, but couldn't. So let's just watch that, and then we'll watch some of the interview. I don't know if we'll watch the whole thing because it's just stomach turning, but we're going to watch some of it here. So let's go to this screen, and we'll kind of watch the interview of the article that I just
Adam Sheafe, this man right here, he's accused of killing New River pastor Bill Schonemann, and he admits to our camera, to our Lauren Clark, that he is responsible for that brutal murder.
He made no bones about it. He says this was part of a plan to kill 14 Christian leaders in 10 states across the country. Lauren Clark now joins.
So demonic. This guy literally had a hit list for pastors. And me being a pastor and a preacher, I mean, it just makes my stomach turn that this guy was out trying to kill leaders and pastors, and how demonic this is. And once again, guys, I'm going to stop and talk throughout and react, because if I just play these videos through without talking and giving my input, the video gets taken down and copyright and all that. But I'm allowed to stop it and react and talk. If you don't like reaction videos, this is probably not the video for you, because that's what this is.
Joins us live to explain, and we've got to warn you up front, these details are disturbing.
It just makes my stomach turn.
Well, John and Ellen, first of all, before I go into the details of that interview, I want to start with the man who is the victim in this case. I think that is super important. Pastor Bill Schonemann. He was beloved in his community. This was a man, according to people who knew him really well, who would do anything to help out a person in need, a light in his community, a light that Adam Sheafe admitted to me right here in the Coconino jail about 2 hours ago that he took. He showed no remorse or regret for his actions.
Led into the room in shackles, Adam Christopher Sheafe admitted to murder.
Did you kill Pastor Bill Schonemann?
Yes.
He justified his actions with religion, citing his twisted belief that Christian pastors are leading people into a false path by following Jesus. He said Pastor Bill was the first in a plot he called Operation First Commandment, aimed at killing and then crucifying 14 Christian leaders across the country.
Killing and then crucifying, which he crucified this guy and put a crown of thorns on his head. And the crazy part was, this guy who did this is claiming to be a Christian, but says that Jesus Christ is false. He has such an antichrist spirit. And the fact that there's people walking around this evil is just hard to comprehend.
He admitted that he was about to kill 2 priests at the Chapel of the Holy Cross in Sedona before he was arrested by police.
The day that I was going to execute that priest, I tried getting into the back of his car, and there was like an older lady that was on like a small little bicycle that got into my way. And I was just going to get into the back seat and tell him to drive to his house.
I asked if
now, I want to say something. Some of you think people that are demonized or have demons are going to be screaming cuckoo all the time. This guy is obviously demonized, obviously has the craziest demons you can think of. He's just talking normal. He's composed. He's put together. So take out of your mind that people that have demons are always these crazy, deranged people that you can't have a conversation with. People walking among us all around have demonic spirits like this guy and have these crazy motives. There's a lot of people that have these crazy desires. This guy acted upon
If
it.
Adam was ever victimized by anyone in the Christian faith, he said no. He said his family is Christian and that he had a good childhood. He denied being mentally
Family Christian and has a good childhood. How crazy is that?
unwell.
But Pastor Bill, speaking to people who knew and loved him, his family, he helped people get back on the right track in this world. He helped a woman who was living out of her car go into a house and get her life back on track. Do you think what you took was precious or valuable in any way?
Adam answered that question with a religious tangent. He said he was not sorry for what he did.
Will I apologize for my actions? Absolutely not.
Disgusting.
Adam also told me that he had used drugs before, but he did not believe that that is impacting his mental state. He also said he would be okay with execution.
Real persecution happening in the U.S. This pastor really died for his faith, for what he believes. Here's the full interview that you guys have probably seen a bunch of clips online. We'll watch some of it, but
Hi, Mr. Sheafe.
yeah, it's just hard to
How
stomach.
are you doing?
I have it sped up a little bit
Did you
too.
kill Pastor Bill Schonemann?
Yes.
Why?
Because
Let me see what speed. I have it on 1.25.
it's a long story, but to summarize it, Yahweh alone is God. It's the first commandment. It's the most important commandment of them all. The preachers are, in my perspective, are leading the flocks astray. They're preaching that Jesus is God's only son and God also. That's not what God said. Very clearly, he said that he alone is God. It's the first commandment. And so with the belief that Jesus is the only son of God and God, God's laws were annulled entirely. There's 13 tribes of Israel. So what I wanted to do was execute and crucify 13 priests.
So twisted. Said 13 tribes of Israel, and he wants to execute and kill 13 priests. And he did have a list that they found, and he was planning to do it.
And put one of the tribes
Oh,
of
makes me
Israel in
sick.
each of their right ears, which I did with this priest. I put the tribe of Benjamin. And then the 14th I wanted to do for Adam, because clearly Adam was God's one and only created son in his image, is the first story told in the Bible.
So you feel the difference is between regular people that believe in God and pastors or preachers, that there's a difference there?
Huge difference, because the first commandment is the most important commandment of them all. Pornography, drugs, the sanctity of marriage is completely eroded. It's vicious out there. Somebody like me who's been in and out of prison,
The irony for him to say it's vicious out there, and he was on drugs when he did this, and he just said he's
you know,
out
the
of prison.
prisons are flooded with drugs. And I'm thinking to myself, the world is a wreck. You know,
But if you're talking about sin, murder is a sin.
well, yeah, it is a sin, but God also commanded us to execute anyone that's preaching that someone other than him is God, because it's that serious. They're claiming that Jesus is God.
This is so crazy, guys. This is so crazy when people are able to take the Bible, use the Bible, twist it to support their deranged actions, like crucifying a pastor in the U.S. Once again, pray for his family. Pray for this pastor's family. Pray for the community. Pray for the church, that God would comfort them. I can't imagine. It's unreal having to know someone that went through this or go through this. It's just horrific. I've never even heard of something like this happening in this horrific way to a pastor in the U.S. I don't know if you guys have, but to crucify and put a crown of thorns on his head,
And
unreal.
that somebody other than God is God. So what's this Jesus is only God's son garbage that I was raised to believe? That's not what God said.
So when did this plan come to fruition? You're thinking about this, you want to carry out this hit list?
Yes.
A hit list.
Sure.
14 pastors.
That's right. Around the nation. To surround the nation.
Starting in Arizona?
Starting in Arizona, where I was born. Where it starts is where it ends, like the Garden of Eden.
How did you pick out these pastors and these preachers?
I just let the Spirit follow me wherever I landed. And the first one where I went was
I let the Spirit follow me. He didn't say I follow the Spirit. He's talking about a demon. I let the Spirit follow me. I know he meant to say I let the Spirit lead me, but he said I let the Spirit follow me. And that's what this guy's functioning in. Demons, demonic. Everything's demonic, brother. How is this not demonic? How is this not demonic?
Olive Street, the Church of Christ. And I thought, well, that makes sense. There shouldn't be a Church of Christ. There should only be a Church of Yahweh.
So you get to Phoenix.
I get to Phoenix. I just set up a tent under a tree on Olive Street, and I followed that priest home Sunday after Easter service. And when he pulled into his driveway, the two women came out of the garage. I'm not interested in executing anyone other than the pastors or the shepherds leading the flock astray. So then I said to myself, okay, I need to find pastors or priests that live alone. And so I set up another tent off of a Carefree Highway between 24th and 16th Street, and I was looking at those churches, and then I happened to stumble across the New River Church, and I followed him home, and I saw that he lived alone.
So you had no previous contact with Pastor Bill?
Zero. I didn't want any
insane.
previous contact. My only criteria was you're breaking the First Commandment.
Pastor Bill was innocent.
Innocent, in your perspective, there's nothing
But
worse.
not yours.
But there's nothing worse than breaking the First Commandment. Oh, all you got to do is just worship Jesus and you go to heaven. Your sins are all forgiven. That's not what God said.
But do you think God was going to forgive your sins?
So wild he did this in the name of religion. I mean, he's literally doing this thinking that God is the one telling him to do this when really it's demonic spirits.
Absolutely, he'll forgive my sins. He's a forgiving God. He's a loving God.
How do you justify that? I mean, if you're killing somebody or multiple people attempted,
Okay, but
how does that work?
It's a commandment to rid Israel of evil.
You see Bill,
Yeah.
you follow him home.
That's right.
What happens next?
Then
I haven't watched this whole interview, guys, so just warning again, if you're a young kid, turn this off. Viewer discretion is advised. This is just hard to listen to. There's no way we're getting through the next 10 minutes because it just makes my
I
stomach
follow him
turn.
home. I see that he lives alone. All right. I go back to the house, or I go back to the desert where I'm camping. I need weapons, right? I need something to execute him with. So I go into a house. I walk to a house and go into it. There's no one living there. And I'm in Phoenix for the tribe Benjamin. It's the first tribe up. And there's a rifle under the bed that has painted on it, Phoenix Benjamin, which was a pellet gun. But I thought, Benjamin Phoenix, that's what I'm supposed to use. I don't know, it's just crazy coincidence.
You're hiding outside.
I'm hiding outside the house. The helicopter's on top of me. We're maybe 5 blocks from the house because I ran through the mountain. Then I waited for the helicopter to leave. I've done this, I've been in and out of prison, so I know. I ran the police probably 100 times in my life. So I leave, and then when I come back to the house later after all the police leave, my car, they confiscated, they took it, so now I don't have a vehicle. So I broke back into the house because I know there's a truck in the garage. I got the supplies I needed to do the execution, and I drove from there to Phil's house, like 2 in the morning on a Sunday night, and I executed him. And then I crucified him by nailing him to the wall, screwing him to the wall. It's fast. I mean, it's, I didn't want it to be bloody. I didn't want it to be a painful. I'm not trying to torture the guy. I just wanted to execute him quickly. So I just put my hand over his mouth and told him to sit still, don't move, and wait until he stopped breathing.
What did you feel in that moment?
I'm executing a plan, and so in that moment, I wanted to make sure that he wasn't going to start breathing again. And then I took a stud finder, found the studs in the wall, and I had a power drill, and I put him in the cross position on the wall, and I screwed him to the wall, and then I had a crown of thorns I put on
So disturbing, man.
his head, and then a leather strap. I had hammered in the tribe of Benjamin in Hebrew letters, in large letters, and on the other side I had the First Commandment in Hebrew letters, that Yahavah alone is God. And I hung that from his right ear with like a rusty piece of wire that I had through the leather strap that I already had pre-ready to go. Yeah. So I just punched it through his ear and hung it. So he's crucified against the wall with the image of Jesus. Because what I'm saying is, what you're preaching is not what God said. It's the opposite of what God said.
I can't watch this anymore. This is just too horrific, guys. This is just unbelievable that this would happen in the U.S. Christian pastor would be crucified in his own home. How dark this world is getting. Guys, we need revival so bad. We need the presence of God so bad. We need deliverance so bad. People need deliverance. This guy needs deliverance. I'm just like, this makes my stomach turn. We really do need to pray for his family. Pray for this pastor in their church. So horrific what this guy did. I have no words. This is happening. The Bible says that we need to suffer with those that suffer for Christ. And we need to remember those that are in chains and remember those that are being persecuted. And this is happening to people all over the world. People are being persecuted in Asia and in Africa and all over the world. And we sit comfortably in our homes thinking this could never happen. And look, this does. He's martyred for his faith, killed for preaching the gospel in the U.S. by this demonized, deranged guy. And sometimes we think, it's going to be the government or it's going to be this, but sometimes it's just because of your faith, you will be persecuted. Jesus said some of you will die for your faith. And in this case, this pastor got the ultimate reward, dying for his faith. But once again, guys, it just makes my stomach turn how dark things have gotten, how deranged this is. This is not a story I would usually cover, but I just wanted to bring light to this, that persecution is happening. People are dying for their faith, and let's not take it for granted. Let's not take the Bible for granted. Let's not take our faith for granted. Let's keep preaching Christ. Let's keep going after God, and let's keep praying for revival. But It probably sickened you. Most of you won't make it to the end of this video. I don't blame you at all. I didn't realize that the interview was going to be that graphic, or I probably wouldn't have watched it that far. But yeah, we just need to pray for this pastor and his family, and we need to pray for revival, guys. I have nothing else to say. I felt just sobered watching that. I'll see you guys in the next video.